Welcome back to the School Hours CEO podcast. I'm your host, Danielle, and joining me today is someone very special to me. She is a client turned friend turned website extraordinaire for me and many other people. Her name is Marika Eidenberg, and she is the founder of Marketing Mavens, a website strategist, SEO expert, and a mom of 3 who deeply understands what it means to build a business during school hours and sometimes way outside of them. She helps mompreneurs and women-led small businesses create websites that aren't just beautiful, but strategic, which is a website that actually works behind the scenes to attract leads, build credibility, and support your business even while you're off the clock. And today in this episode, Marika is sharing the mindset shifts, website mistakes to avoid, and tangible tips to help you turn your site into a 24/7 business partner so you can stop hustling in your DMs and start owning your CEO energy online. So Marika, I am so excited to be recording this episode with you. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here. So first of all, let me just backpedal and say, I have been working with Marika for several years now, and I have watched her move through many seasons of life, but none have lit her up the way that this stuff that we're talking about today lights her up. She is so incredible with understanding the tech, but not just understanding how it works, but why it works so that she can explain to her clients how to get the best bang for their buck, but also how to optimize their time by building a website that actually works for them. So Marika, you've built a business helping other women get seen and convert online. So can you share your own school hours CEO journey and what led you to Marketing Mavens and this work you do now?
Sure. Well, as you know, you've seen the behind the scenes of this journey of climbing uphill, stumbling back down, and falling. And
that's part of it. That's just part
of
it.
It totally is. So I think, this has always been in my blood. Entrepreneurship's always been in my blood because I started a business at 15 years old, and kind of that would be, I'll leave that there. That's the short and sweet story of it all. But it's always been in me to do that. And then, of course, having 3 small children, and one still at home, I was trying to figure out what I can do because I was not about to go back into the corporate workforce. I was just like, after my second, it was like, no. And I started doing, just marketing consulting and this and that for there. But it was really hard to balance. As most moms know, it's so hard to balance all of the things. Like you want to do something to bring some income in, but you got to pay attention to your kids and the mom guilt and all the crap that goes along with that.
Right.
But I think also that, and I imagine a lot of your listeners can relate to this, is as moms, we want something that's ours as well. Like we want to have that identity back of like almost a purpose. Motherhood, fantastic, love it, love all my kids. Not saying that, but it's just that purpose. And like you said, I found something that really lit me up. I've been in the marketing world since like 2005, I guess it's been. Online marketing since about 2007, 2008, and watched it grow and evolve through all the seasons as it has, and at hyper speed lately. And this is just what I love doing. And I love being able to help other moms get that freedom and that balance as well, because I find when we can show up as our best selves for our business, we also can then it kind of goes both ways. We can show up for our families as well. So it's just been a journey of trying to fit those pieces together and allowing, and of course with your support, letting in all of the goodness flow in, like finding the ideal daycare for my youngest. So grateful for that because that was a huge roadblock, and I know many moms can probably relate to that because that is a hard step. Especially after my middle one was never in daycare. She was at home with me the whole time. So putting the little baby, the last one, in daycare was a very tough emotional thing, which you supported me through, and I greatly appreciate. But it also allowed me to step into this, like you said, next season of my career, like what I do and who I am. So it's definitely there's been some bumps in the road for sure, but we've worked through it together. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Just all of it to get to this point and keep refining down and drilling down. And I think the light really clicked, it really went off. And it was in a conversation. I know we've talked about this before, with the importance of niching down to be able to speak to that direct audience. Once I got out of my own way, and I know you had to call me on my BS, like, let's just say more than once, and step into, okay, who do I really want to serve? What lights me up? Like, stop trying to serve everyone. Just who do you want to serve? Like, what makes me feel the best? And it was when I was speaking to people like me who are in that stage of, dare I say, like, floundering, trying to figure out your way after becoming a mom, and you don't want that to be your only identity anymore moving forward.
Right.
And I was like, those are the people I want to. I want to give people what I've now got, like that feeling of identity and purpose for my own, like as Marika, not as mom.
Right.
You know, I want to have that. So that is why I am serving who I am serving, because I can relate to them. I do get. I mean, you got. You know, you've talked about this, and I'm sure this is on other episodes as well. But you know, the flexibility of like sick days and field trips and dentist appointments and all the things that come along with that, with having kids, that flexibility and that need to quickly pivot during your week. And that's what this business has allowed me to do. Because like you said, we're doing this during school hours, but okay, let's be real. Like sometimes it's after bedtime hours. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I do try and stick with those boundaries, but I think because I found something I love and that I'm willing to sort of, okay, we're doing the field trip today. That might mean a couple hours after bedtime tonight, just to meet the deadlines I had previously agreed upon, right?
Right.
But it feels good now. Like it's not like it's forced. Like I definitely am finding I'm not sitting there going, oh crap, we're gonna do it again tonight. You know, it's not that. It's like, no, I had an awesome day at the nature park with my daughter, you know, releasing salmon or whatever we were doing. And yeah, and now I get to finish up this landing page for this client, and I'm super excited to launch it. Like it just kind of all works out. So
Right.
yeah,
Well,
how we kind of got here.
and it's funny because I do have a backseat, you know, front row ticket to this whole process. I mean, we were working together when you were, I'm going to say only a stay-at-home mom in quotations, because I don't mean that. It's not like it's not a full-time job being a stay-at-home mom. But then that transitioned into, you know, a coaching business, which transitioned into VA and OBM work, which transitioned into building websites and all of that. And I think because I've had this backstage pass, I also know how passionate you are about the benefits that building a high performance website has to the end client, right? Like you say websites should work for you and not just look good. And I would love it if you would kind of just walk us through what that really means for the busy mom running life and business and all the things. Like, how does having a website that actually performs benefit her?
Well, first off, like having something that is yours that you own, you know, that you have full control over is
Right.
important. You know, that with social media and everything else is fantastic, and everything has its place. But having something that's yours that you can be found online, and you can close a sale to somebody at 2 a.m. when they're breastfeeding their newborn and they're scrolling and they just need, you know, that's their time to make, you know, to look for whatever the person is selling, right?
Right. Yeah.
You can sell. Someone can make a purchase at 2 a.m. while you're sound asleep. I mean, hopefully you're sound asleep. You're sound asleep, and that is what I want to give back, because that for me was like, what can I give people that I wanted when I was in those
Right.
early trenches, let's call that, because that's what it feels like some days. Yeah, what can I give back? So that having a website that's working for you while you're not on the clock, essentially, is what my goal is. So getting found, so that is SEO, but there's a bunch more that goes into it.
Right.
And that's the piece where I come in, and I'm going to work with my clients to build a site that hits on all those points, not just SEO, but looking at conversion and the customer journey and what we can do to, whether it's upsells or anything, to enhance that and basically allow the clients to be as hands-off as they want to be. I have clients that want to be involved and hands-on, which is fantastic. I build sites so that they are user-friendly, so that it's not, when everybody hears WordPress, they're like, oh crap, it's a bunch of coding. I'm like, no, it's okay. I can do that part for you if you want. If you want some custom stuff done, I got you. But if you want to go in and post a blog, we'll set it up so you can go in there as you would some easy builder site to just, you know, go in and post your blog. And if you want help, I can do it. If not, no problem. So I create sites that kind of meet the needs of the client, so that they can be as involved or not involved as possible as they want. I mean, and that can work for them when they're not on the clock, like to give them back that time. Because that's what I would have wanted. When I was first trying this after my second, when I was trying to do this, I mean, I was doing the stay-at-home mom thing for 2 little kids at that point, and trying to do a business between the hours of like midnight and 5 a.m.
Right.
with being woken up to breastfeed a crying baby. Like, looking back like that, it's insane. What was I thinking? Like, what the actual, like, no. So and at that point I didn't really, I didn't really know the missing pieces of the puzzle.
Right.
But having something that's working for me, so I didn't have to do those hours. And I could go to sleep. I could go on field trips. I can go and play with the kids. I can take a day off. Like yesterday was a pro D day. I could do that. I could go and spend time, have a date with just my son, go and, we got his haircut and go on a little lunch date and stuff. I can do that and find out that I come back and there's new client inquiries. Like, that's fantastic for me to be able to do that. That kind of flexibility is what I want to be giving my clients.
Right. I think moms especially, I mean, everybody in general, but moms especially, we need to be considering, if we truly want success in our business and not just another thing on the to-do list, we truly want to build something that is sustainable and that, contributes to the household and makes us feel good and gives us our own thing. Because you're right, I love being a mom too, but also not enough for me. I need, that. And I'm sure some moms wouldn't agree with that, but for me, I need something that's mine, that I have control over, that I can grow any way I see fit. I get to fulfill my purpose, but I also need that business to work for me so that I don't have to be on in order to make money, right? Because as a mom, that's just not sustainable, right? That's a one-way ticket to burnout, because even if I had unlimited amount of time in my business, there's still the mental load of being a mom too, right? And I only have the one kid, you have 3. So you've got extra appointments, and some of them don't like these vegetables, and some of them need to make sure that they have, these kinds of things in the freezer. So you've got to keep a running tab of what you're running low on, and when we need to get freezer bags next, and how much laundry detergent is left, and when I wash the bed sheets last. And like, there's a mental load that moms carry on top of everything else. And that's why I think what you do is so important, because we need to be, basically, the way I see it is, we need to be providing the universe as many opportunities as possible to help us fulfill our purpose and serve the people that we're here to serve. And that really can only be done if one of the things you're doing is making sure that if somebody's typing in how to do such and such, and you do such and such, that they find you in that Google search, right? So
yeah, I think your point to the mental load too is really, that's a key part too, because I mean, as moms, we all know that we feel that goes unnoticed. I'm just,
I mean, yeah.
Like, yeah. There's this, that's a thing. Like, I don't need to go down that griping road. We don't need to have a vent session, but that is, it means, and last week, like, I was feeling that so deeply, like, just so much. Like, the mental load can be overwhelming.
Definitely.
It can just be a lot. So what I want to do, and for me, the mental load of helping clients on a website is not it's not something this weighs heavily on me. I like it.
Right.
This is my fun time. This is my break. This is my hobby, and I get paid for it, which is freaking awesome. So it's kind of, I see it as a win-win. I get to take something off your plate that gives you a headache and makes you want to have a glass of wine and peace out. Whereas this is what fills my cup. So
right.
I almost see it as like, the whole thing, it takes a village. Like, we talk about raising a family, but there's parts of it that I can, we all bring different things to the table. And this is the part, if I can take some of the tech headache off of your plate, for sure I'm going to do it, because it's filling my cup. Like, I'm just going to say it as is. Like, I enjoy this stuff.
Right.
Like, I mean, yeah, okay, there's times where there's some swearing and cursing. I'm not going to sugarcoat that either. But like, overall, like, I enjoy this. Like, the satisfaction I get of launching a kick-ass client site and then putting my little baby out in the world for them and watch it do its magic. Like, that's fun for me. Like, that fills me up. Some of the people are like, you're crazy. Like, what the heck? But I get to fill my cup. You don't have to deal with the headache of just figuring all this tech stuff.
Right.
And you just get a pretty website that's found online and people are coming to you. Like, I find it's a win-win. So it takes a bit of that mental load off your plate. But it's not really putting it on mine. Does that make sense? Like, it's, yeah. I like that dynamic I get with clients.
I love that. And I've witnessed your the dynamics and how it pays off, and it truly does light you up, and then that energy and that love goes into the site that you're making, and just from a woo woo, you know, vibration frequency standpoint, that ripples out to the business owner and then the clients that then are attracted to that site, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, but for me, you know, I know that I definitely would fall into your ideal client category because I am all of the things that you've listed, including overwhelmed by all of the tech. And I know some of us because we don't know what we're looking for, we get put into situations that are ranging from not ideal to hard to get out of. And by that, I mean all-in-one platforms like, well, I'm not going to name them, all-in-one platforms or other, you know, website building platforms. We just don't really know what to look for. And when we have made what we think is an informed decision, we still, you know, it's a lot of work to learn all of the ins and outs of building a website. So let me ask you, what are some of the common, or the more common, I guess, website mistakes you see mom entrepreneurs making when they're trying to DIY or kind of duct tape their online presence together?
The biggest one is building a pretty site and then leaving it that. You know, I mean, I get it, and it's sometimes it's a bit of a, you know, when I started getting into this, like really focusing on the performance side of things, like I can still build a pretty site, but that's not where the meat is.
Right.
That's not right. Like, you know, there was a recent lead, let's say, and we're still in the thick of it right now. We're still figuring it out. And she has a beautiful, like, her site's gorgeous, yet there is zero optimization. Like, it doesn't, the way it performs, like it's one of the worst I've seen. I'm just going to say that, like, on a performance standpoint. But if you go and visit, it's beautiful. Like, it looks fantastic. And even the customer journey is not bad. There's definitely some things just on the front end that I could see that needs fixing. But when you start looking at performance, like, it's not getting found on, like, there's no way it's going to get found. There is nothing done. It's not, doesn't display well on mobile. There's none of the basic SEO points hit. Like, you know, I sort of have when I'm going through a site, I've got like my top checklist, and then I kind of drill down from there. So, like, one of the things is you want to make sure all of your header tags, for example, are in place. So you've got, each page should have an H1 tag, and anyone who's built a site will probably know what that is. But there should only be one, and it needs to be, it shouldn't be some cheeky little tagline. It needs to have your keywords in it. Like, it needs to say what you are doing, because that is the first thing that Google, and I use Google as for all search engines, but because that's the beast. But the search engines are looking at is things like, is the title tags, is these key tag areas. And when you're missing that, Google's just gone. Like, it's not even going to drill down to it's gone. It's moved on to somebody else who's got it. Like, you're just left in the dust. So if you're not even hitting on these key points, these key indicators that are going to help you get found, there's no point like posting fantastic blog content, all this stuff. It's just not going to get, you're just getting overlooked by the search engines.
Right.
And that is one of the big things I see. And it's one of those things that just kind of makes you, like, breaks my heart. Cause I'm like, no, I understand the love and sweat and tears that go into making a pretty site. Like, I fully understand that, whether it's on one of these easy builder, the all-in-one platforms like you're speaking of, or it's on WordPress or wherever it is. There's a lot of pros and cons with using the different platforms. I am always pro WordPress 100%, and there's a bunch of reasons why. And like I was saying earlier, I use a builder that allows my clients to go in and make these easy drag and drop type of edits, so that we have the best of both worlds. You as a client can go in and do everything if you want, or do little tweaks. You don't have to come to me and have me change a title or something on a page, or make an update to, you know, a sentence somewhere. You can go in and do that, no problem, without the headache. But you can also get all the benefits of actually owning your site, because you would actually own it on WordPress. Don't go too far into that right now, but you own the content, you have full control over the content, and you can manipulate it any way you want. And then I can go in, if you're like, no, I really want this and this and this, like, okay, I got you. It takes a bit more to do that. You know, it's not maybe a beginner level thing, but I can do it for you, which you can't do that on some of these easy builder platforms. And I saw something recently, and I just loved the analogy of it. It was that WordPress is like owning your own home as opposed to renting it. Like, once you own your home, you can do whatever you want to it. You can make the changes you want. You're not sort of held to somebody else's criteria. And I thought that was a really great way to look at it. So when I'm building the sites, that's what I'm looking at doing is being able to, the clients own it and they can do all of we can make exactly what they want on the front end and the back end.
Mhm.
So those would be the big things that I would say look for. And like I do have a website checklist that you can grab, listeners can grab. So that would be one thing, whether it's on Ways Easy Builders or it's on WordPress, but making sure you're hitting the key points for SEO.
Okay. So, and I fully understand what you're saying about making sure that the website doesn't just look nice, but that it actually performs. Because if it looks nice, but nobody can find it, then unless you're actively giving a link to somebody, which, I mean, as business owners, we put the links in our comments section, or, somebody will ask for it. So it's not like it's never going to get seen. But if you want a truly organic growth strategy that allows your business to grow while you are breastfeeding, or while you're in the pool with your kid, or while you're sleeping, or while you're having a bath, or while you're at the grocery store, or whatever, you want people to be able to find your site. So you need it to perform. So you mentioned H1 tags. Is there one other or two other maybe like key high impact things that someone can do today to improve their website conversion, or even being like, what's that word, discoverability?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So having it very, very, very clear what you do. Like that's one of the other big mistakes I've seen. You go to these beautiful sites and I'm like, well, it sparkles, but what are they actually doing, or what are they actually selling, or how do I buy? Like, where's the call to action? So make sure you have clear call to actions. I've tested out different methods to see what works and kind of what doesn't. Oftentimes a really clear, like your main call to action, whether it's like book a appointment or buy this, whatever the main thing is you're selling, is like front and center, like often like up in the navigation, if there's a button there. You want to make sure that it displays well on mobile. So that would lead to the other one would be make sure it displays well on mobile, like your entire site.
Right.
Because that is another thing I've seen, these beautiful sites and then it's not mobile optimized. Well, the vast majority of people nowadays are looking on here.
At least, well, I find even for me, I don't necessarily review a whole, like if I'm interested in buying something from a coach, for example, I'm a millennial, so I like to do important things on the computer, it's the running joke that we do, this email's too important for my phone, right? But like you say, though, I do oftentimes the first interaction I have with somebody's brand, their site, them as a person, their products, their offers are on my phone. And how often, I mean, I'm not above a short attention span. And they say, I don't know who they is, but they say that our attention span is so short that you can probably tell me what the optimal load time is, but if it takes any time at all for the page to load, most of us, including me, I'm just going to swipe back out of it because I've lost interest already. Like I don't have the patience to sit here and wait for this to load. And you could also argue from like an energetics of the business and also professionalism, not that it's about being perfectly polished at all. I mean, I 100% would never say that, but if your website can't even load, then, you're psychologically, I think you're already losing credibility in your ability to deliver whatever the thing is that I'm trying to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, and again, I'll use Google as an example because it's the big beast out there. But so to answer your question, anything over 2 seconds, like the Google's it's gone.
2 seconds, right? Wow. Okay.
Like you want less than that. 1.4 and like under would be ideal.
Okay.
But at 2 seconds, Google's moved on. So you want to make sure your site is loading fast, and you can. It was free. They're going to either they have started charging or they're about to start. But gtmetrics.com, you can do speed tests on that, which is that is an awesome one. It's a tool. I have the pro plan so I can access everything, but the free version, at least you could. I still believe there's a free option for it. If there's not, there's like a free trial. But you can go in there and it'll give you an idea of your site speed and what's slowing it down.
Oh, okay.
And 9 times out of 10, it's a massive image on the homepage. Like it's oftentimes images in general. And then either the top thing or the second thing will be the server, like where your site is hosted. So you want to make sure you're having good hosting, fast hosting, ideally private hosting is the best. Because again, that pretty site hosts on a shared server, which a lot of these like the easy builder platforms are on. You're only going to be as good as your the worst site on there because you're kind of being bulked together with the performance.
Right.
So if you can have it on a private server is huge. Like I'll give you an example. I had a client had a rebuild for, all right, and we rebuild our site, and there's some metrics with it, but I'll just, the highest you can get is 99% as far as the speed rating. Okay, I got her site to 99% speed rating when I was building it on my server, and then she was going to be self-hosting because of family connections, which is completely fine. I'll hand it back over to her. We did that, and the only change is it went down, it was the host, and it went down to 83%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was 100% the server, and that's just what it is. I mean, that, like, it you know, not everything's not created equal. We know that.
Right.
But it was a really great example to just show the benefits. Like, there's nothing that was changed. It was within 24 hours, because there's no change to the site. It was simply just moving it from one server to another server. And just because that one was it was a slower server, and it was loaded with it had some other websites on it.
Right.
It just slowed it right down. So all of a sudden, because it kept it on because I do 2 months free hosting with my plans.
Right.
Because kept on my, and her, she was getting, like, she's still doing fine. Like, it's still going all right. We're still in contact and all of that. But out of the gate, she's getting all these inquiries. She's getting found and coming up, and it was fantastic. We're celebrating, like, yay, high fives all around. And then came to time to hand it off, which I knew was coming, and I'm not, again, I'm going to do that, no problems.
Right.
But it was interesting because, in conversation now, she's like, oh, is there anything I can do? Because I'm like, well, yeah, it's the one that you don't want to do. But yeah, it just was a really good example. So making sure you have your key tags in place, like your metadata, which is the meta description, like the shows up in Google. You get your title, you got the description below.
Right.
Making sure it's got the method, what you're doing, like what you're selling. Like, so for me, I'm selling high performing websites to mompreneurs. You better believe those keywords are going to be in my meta description. It's in my title tags. It's in all the, that is what put in there. So those tags, like, and I said having a single H1 on a page, not multiple. You can have multiple H2s and 3s and whatnot. Go to town on those. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But having one H1 tag is key. And then the call to actions, like I was saying, call to actions, and making sure that it's very clear, because our attention spans nowadays are like naps. Like, we just don't have time for anything, especially as moms. Like, give me a break. Like, give it to me now or I'm moving on.
Right, exactly.
Google's doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing. So make it easy for me to buy from you. Don't make me dig, because I'm not going to find somebody else.
I can only lock myself in the bathroom for so many minutes before somebody comes knocking and looking for me, right? So we need it to load, and I need to be able to make a decision quickly.
Oh, you're lucky you get to close the bathroom door.
Well, I have a toddler. My kid's already 9, so. But when he was a toddler, you better believe that door did not stay closed. There was almost no point in even having a door on the hinges at all.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. It's all about speed. So it's speed in all these different areas. The customer needs to find the information on the site. So it's got to load quick to keep them on the site. It's got to load quick for Google to list your site. Right. And then once that client is there, that they can find what they want nice and quick and make the checkout process smooth. Like, those are big things. And then of course that ties in with mobile optimization. So making sure it's actually fully optimized for mobile. And I should preface by, when I say mobile, I'm also meaning tablet. Right. Because it depends how people have it. In your settings, you can change it for tablets, or it's just playing mobile, or anyways. So I'm actually, when I do, I'm optimizing it 3 different ways. So I do the full desktop version, tablet, and mobile, because there is differences, and you might notice it when you go to sites that sometimes on tablets something's not right. Yeah, it's kind of mobile, but it's kind of not. It's kind of like, because it's kind of pulling from both. Kind of stretches funny or something. Yeah. That's why it's basically trying to piece things together, because it hasn't been optimized properly. Right. So optimizing it for mobile would be the other big thing. Yeah, those are my key tips for sure, and then you can drill down from there. Right. And target some of those are the common issues that I see. Okay. Now, you talked about being a big advocate for WordPress, which I know you and I have had extensive conversations, and I understand, and I like the way that you explained it. I understand why you do advocate for that versus the other options like Wix or Squarespace or all-in-one platforms like, Kajabi and things like that.
Can you give us kind of a high level once over of why WordPress is something that you advocate for, especially for someone who might be using something like Wix or Squarespace and wondering if maybe it's worth switching?
Sure. So when I say WordPress, I'm WordPress.org for developers, not .com. There's two different platforms. So you with WordPress sites, when I'm building them or someone else is building them for you, you own everything. That is that's yours. You're not actually, like, when you're building some of these other builders, you don't actually, it's like Facebook. You don't own any of that content you put on there. It can be taken away tomorrow. Like, that's
I think people don't know that. I think they don't realize that even if you're building it on some of these platforms, it's still not yours. It's owned by that platform.
Yeah, and when you're starting out, it's completely understandable. Like, it's free. So yes, I'm going to build it on Facebook, Instagram, wherever I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I mean, this is a bit of a side note, but that's also speaks to the importance of building an email list, because you own your email list, right? But that's for a different day.
You'll have to come back for an email conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But with WordPress, you're owning it. And so you have complete control over what you're doing. And there's a question that came up recently to me about e-commerce site. One was a great example, is because there's WooCommerce, and WooCommerce is a massive beast. It's a very robust system. It's fantastic. I love it. However, there's much simpler platforms out there. Like, one that I like is SureCart.
Okay.
And there's even a free version of SureCart for getting started. So it's a plugin you add to your WordPress site, and it's because it's pared down, it's simplified. Mm-hmm. It honestly felt like some of the easy builders. So I can set this up on the client site. You can go in and you can add your own products. And you can like you would in Kajabi, for example. Okay. It's very similar to that. Mm-hmm. The way you're adding it, and you're setting up your upsells and your downsells and all of that. So WordPress has come so far. Like, I think when I mentioned WordPress, I'm having initial conversations. People are like, oh crap, I don't know coding. I can't do this. Like, no. Like, trust me, you can do this.
It's not like that anymore. It's advanced now.
And I mean, and also, like, some of the other ones, the ongoing costs, because there's a lot of add-on costs, right? That you want to do this, you want to, whatever it is. So your costs are more controlled. With WordPress, also, it allows for growth over time. Like, there's way more opportunities for growth, because sky's the limit when you have full control. You can go as big as you want to go, right? That's where all the big ones are all on WordPress, right? And so that's why the small guys need to start there too. So doing that, having on WordPress over some of the other platforms is key at the gate. I get that it can be scary, because honestly, it scared the crap out of me to begin with when I was first doing this. I mean, I think it was in 2009 I started getting more into actually building sites. And like, someone was mentioning WordPress, and I'm like, oh gosh, there's the door, I gotta run. Like, that just freaked me out. But as I've learned, I'm like, oh wait, this isn't actually as scary as I thought. And especially nowadays with all of these, like I said, like using a builder that's basically an overlay on it. It's a nice lightweight like a nice light plugin as well, so it's not slowing, because all the plugins slow down your site as you add them. I would imagine. Mm-hmm. There's another to back up. That's also another reason I'd recommend SureCart over WooCommerce if you're just getting started. Like, you have like 20 items you're trying to sell. Don't add a heavy plugin like WooCommerce. Add SureCart, because it's not gonna doesn't slow your site down as much. Okay. So that would be the big benefit. Also, the SEO options for WordPress are way more, like, so much more. So we can go in and really customize all of these fields. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm using a plugin that makes it really easy. And I'm using, oftentimes, depending on the site, I'll use Slim SEO, which is a free version, so anyone can go out there and grab that. Mm-hmm. But it's nice because it allows you to fill in all these fields. It's also pretty easy to use. There's other ones like SEO Press, which are paid. With my plans, it's included, which is much more robust, so you can drill down a lot deeper. But it does depend on the needs of the client, with which I'd recommend. But you have these options available within WordPress. You're not limited to one specific thing. Right. And then, like I was saying, you customize everything. And then when you're putting it, because again, you're keeping the site light, you don't want to add too many plugins. When you're putting it wherever it's being hosted, whether it's my hosting or someone else's, it's still a lighter site. So it's going to be faster. I get it. Right? When you're on some of the builders, like, you have, it's loading all of that stuff that you have options for on these sites, and slows it down.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, like I say, at least you have the options, but you want to make sure you're
Mhm.
optimizing the options too, which is why it's beneficial to talk to somebody who, you know, knows which plugins are necessary and not. So let me ask you this. So for the mom who's grown but hasn't updated her website in probably longer than she wants to admit, what signs should she look for that her site is holding her back instead of helping her scale?
I mean, she's just not getting traffic to her site. I hope that there is some kind of tracking or analytics put on any of these sites. Again, that's something I see it's overlooked. And to
Oh,
me,
okay.
what's the point if you can't tell, if you don't know what's going on in your site? What's the point in even building it? Right? Like,
That's true. Yeah.
but and I don't want to be making anyone feel bad because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But I've had several clients come to me that have zero tracking on their site. I was like, well, I can't tell you what's going on or not going on until we, so we can do a little bit, like we might do a little bit of heat mapping or something like that to find out some quick answers, right? On what's happening or what's not happening on the site, to figure out what we need to fix. I mean, honestly, it's usually pretty obvious. But looking at the tracking to know what's working and what's not working is important, because you will see that if you just have Google Analytics on your site, you can go in, if you understand Google Analytics, I guess, and see what's performing and what's not. Even in some of these easy builders, they typically have some kind of tracking built in, and you can go in to your dashboard there and see what's working and what's not working. And that'll, and that the indicator is there's a lot not working, right? Like, let's say you've got, I don't know, 30 pages on your site. And I should say each blog is considered a page. So that's why some of these numbers get higher.
Okay.
Right. About 30 pages on a site and only like 3 are ever really being hit. And why did I even bother creating 27 other pages?
Right.
Like, or maybe these are important. We want to start driving traffic there. So then we're looking at how we're going to drive traffic over there. So basically, just if you've got crickets, that's a big sign. If you're just not getting found when you're Googling yourself, especially your business name, because honestly, no one types in a website address anymore. Like, let's just be honest. Like,
Correct.
they just don't. They might remember your business name. They might remember your name. So in your case, you're set up great because your name is your business name. That's like ideal, amazing. So kudos. But if for your name or your business name, you want to be being found.
Right.
If you're not even coming up for that, there's a problem.
Yeah, that would be a red flag if you're Googling yourself and you don't even come up. You're typing it in exactly what you are and it's not coming. That's a red flag. Okay. Yes,
yeah, for sure. And for some reason, there's massive shifts in Google, especially around AI. And there's been a huge change rolling out like right now, just was announced last week, around Google and how it delivers search results. So stay tuned. I'll fill you in on that later.
Okay.
But so and with the advances in AI, we're seeing huge changes in how we, as developers, present the sites, and that's the other thing is it's always evolving. Like, you have to stay on top of it. You can't just create a site and leave it. You've got to keep it maintained. You've got to keep it up to date, because Google doesn't like stale content.
Yeah.
Like, I say at least get a blog on your site once a month. Like, that's not even enough, to be honest. Like, that's not great. I mean, that's minimum.
But if you're going to just do the bare minimum, that would be it. One blog.
Yeah. But like, I've had clients come to me like, oh, I haven't logged into my site for 2 years.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Let's start there.
You haven't logged in. You haven't made any changes to it, right? You haven't added any new services. You haven't updated your about page, maybe even updating your images. Like, that's what I've seen. It's like there's a bit of a disconnect between the images. Like, one's like 10 years old from 10 years ago, and your hair is different color, and then they meet your person. Like, you want to have that fluid experience.
Right.
So if you're not updating your site, that is a problem too. So that would be probably a red flag if you haven't updated your site in a while, or you don't know how to update your site because you've forgotten because you haven't been in a while. Yeah, you want to be you want to be maintaining your site. It's just like anything, if you don't nurture it is not going to grow.
Right.
So,
No, and that's fair.
water the garden. You got to water the flowers.
No, this is true. So you have a checklist that our listeners can get. I believe it's called "Is Your Website Helping or Hurting?" Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a website SEO health check. So it's just a quick, you just download as a checklist that you can go through. And that's all you can do it yourself. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, whatever platform your site's built on, you can go through and just double check, and it'll give you some pointers on so you know what areas you got to look at. Because if you can't check some of those boxes, well, they need to be addressed. And then right now, actually, what I'm doing is I follow that up with a 5-part email series.
Okay.
Drilling down into kind of each of those key points about how to make the changes. So
that's nice.
When someone right now, someone's in the checklist, I'm going to send out over the course of a few weeks the emails, which are the how-to, like really drilling down on the how-tos. And again, it's not necessarily on WordPress. It can be on any platform. So it sort of speaks to all of it. It's the key things that kind of like we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Like on spoiler alert, the H1 tags are on there.
Yeah, I figured they might be. Yeah.
They may be, image size, that sort of thing. Like those are the key things to look at. But then understanding about the image, because there's a lot of components to do with an image. It's not just the size, right? So all of those different components that go in to optimizing an image, that'll be like one of the emails of how to do all that.
Oh,
so
wow.
Those sort of things. So right now I'm doing got the 5-part email. So I think it's over like 3 weeks. I think it comes out. So it's not, I'm not going to bombard you with info, but just to help people understand what they can do is they can make some changes themselves. Because I know, like, as mompreneurs and we're small business owners, we want to DIY as much as we can. Like, we want to do it ourselves. Like, we really do. But it gets to the point too where you kind of got to hand off some of it. I know you love the book, The Big Leap, and I think that is a great. Yeah, I know. There's a great story. I think it might be his intro, where he's trying to do the printer, where he's trying to fix his printer, and he realizes, like, because what is he, like a lawyer? Anyways, he's like $1,000 an hour guy. Like, that's what he gets paid for every class, I think. And he's like, I just spent like 16 hours trying to figure out this printer, how to hook this thing up, but it's not my zone of genius where I can get the kid down the street to do it in half an hour. And
give him $100 and you're
give him a Starbucks gift card for $25 and he's happy, type of thing, And he's like that, and it was a really great example of like our time. It's like you and I've talked to you about this, like what our time is worth. Like, I'll outsource stuff that it's not my zone of genius. I'm going to outsource stuff that I don't want to do, that doesn't fill my cup. The same thing with you. Like, we're going to do that. So, you can definitely DIY it, but I find at some point to actually really grow your business, you do have to get the supports in place. Like, you do have to reach out. You do have to get someone who knows it, because it's going to be a lot faster for me to troubleshoot this stuff than somebody who doesn't know the tech side of it. But just like, like there's all the wealth and knowledge you've given me, that would have taken me like a zillion years longer to try and do it on my own. And I'm grateful I haven't had to. So it's like, we all have our zone of genius, and this is mine that I want to gift to mompreneurs and help them out.
No, and it's important. And I mean, I agree. I see the value of DIYing to a point. I think a lot of the things that we pick up and learn in business is somewhat necessary for us to have at least a basic understanding of what it is and how we want it to go, so that when we do delegate it to someone, we can be clear about what we're looking for or not looking for. For example, I created a content repurposing scheme. I don't know what I would, routine, whatever. And I took the time to master it and really get it working for me before I delegated it to somebody else, because then it cuts down on the backing and forthing when it's delegated. So there is a degree of DIYing I think is necessary. But like you say, you also need to live within your zone of genius. And yes, I love The Big Leap. He talks about your zone of genius a lot. And he says, it's not worth your while. Time is our most finite resource. It is the only resource that we cannot get more. You can make more money. You can make and get more of almost anything. Time, though, that's it. Once today is over, it's gone. You're not going to get a do-over. So you need to really be honest with yourself about how you want to be spending those hours, especially as moms building businesses, between school drop-off and pickup. I have maybe 5 hours a day, if I'm lucky, and that doesn't include errands or bathroom breaks or, lunch. we need to be using the time we have as efficiently as possible. And so that's why it's worthwhile to have people in your life who can take those things that are within their zone of genius. You're supporting their business, they're supporting you, and you're compounding time, because while you're doing something else within your zone of genius, something that's not within your zone of genius that still needs to get done is being handled by somebody else. And I think that's, something that I try to bring when I'm talking to all the guests on this podcast, is that everybody I bring on is helping the moms in my world to some degree. And for you, it's helping moms get their businesses discovered and helping and creating an impact, while we as moms are doing mom things and doing other things in our business and coaching calls and recording podcast episodes like this. And so it's so important that we learn how to delegate these things. And so I love this checklist that you made, because it really sounds like it's going to give moms a good idea of just some kind of starting points, but then also educating them on why these pieces are important. I think there's so much information out there about what we should and shouldn't be doing in our business, whether it involves tech or not, but there's not a lot of people explaining why that is. They're just telling you what needs to happen. And I love that your approach really helps them understand why it's important, and in a way that just makes sense. I mean, like I said, I've had kind of a backstage pass this whole time. So I've been kind of learning these things as you're excited to share them and you're geeking out over whatever it is that you've learned or problem you've overcome. And I love it, because first of all, I love watching you get lit up about it, but I also, it's informative. And there's things that I had no idea I needed to be considering in my business and in my business, and the way that I operate and the way that I have my website running and the way that I have things set up. It's not to say again that it needs to be perfect, and you definitely don't need a website right out of the gate. I mean, I started my business with just a Facebook group, and it's not to say that you can't do that, but like Marika is saying, it's important that you do consider the long haul of your business. If this is something you plan to do for a while, you want to be setting yourself up for success as early as possible, and working with people like Marika who can build beautiful websites that also perform well and help you make the impact that you're here to make. I mean, chances are Marika and I both have seen proof that we attract people who are here to make a positive impact in the world. So by having Marika build your website for you, or have her eyes on the website and tell you how you can improve it, will then have a compound effect of improving your impact in the world, right? You're not here by accident. So I think it's a good idea that you get one. And I'm going to put all of the links so you can follow Marika, so that you can get the checklist, so that you can learn more from her in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube, or in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast. So you can go there and follow her. And Marika, just before we sign off, if you could leave the moms listening with just one piece of advice for turning their website into a CEO level tool, what would it be?
Oh, wow. One bit. I'd say go ask 5 of your friends, like give them a task. Like, if you're a coach and you're selling a program, your signature program, ask them to go to your site and like go to it and try and purchase the program. And give honest. Hopefully, people will give you honest feedback. I mean, ideally, you can ask strangers. Like, that's honestly the best way, but sometimes that's a bit scary, and I totally understand that, because it opens you up to criticism that can be a little hurtful sometimes.
Right.
But if you can have somebody go through your site and just like, okay, here's my, homepage. Give them, go purchase this. Like, don't actually.
But go through the process of purchasing it. Yeah.
Or whatever your key call to action is. Like, sometimes it might be just to book a free discovery call, let's say. Or it might be to download some free thing as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their different,
Right.
But have people that are not as close to it, do it and find out what that, what the experience is, because you'll very quickly find out where your gaps are. Like that will be it. You're gonna find out what, like, it took me half an hour to figure it out. Like, oh crap, like that's not good.
Yeah, no, and that's good advice. No, that's not good, but that's good advice, because I think, like you say, whether it's me building the website myself for my own offers, or it's me delegating it to you, in either of those cases, you and I would be so close to it that I don't know, I can't think of what the phenomenon is called, but where you see what you expect to see. And because we know what's supposed to happen and where it's supposed to go and what we're selling, it makes sense to us. But I love that advice, because if you have somebody who is not familiar with the website or not familiar with what you do, you know, tell you what you do, tell you who you serve, what your offer is, go through the process to access this thing and get their notes, whether good or bad, and then implement those changes. Because like you say, you want to have a website that looks good, that functions well, and that works the way that it's supposed to, right? And so that's good advice. I think that's really good. So is there anything else that you want to leave these women with, or a mindset shift that you could share with them that will have them looking at focusing on SEO and their website in a little bit of a less overwhelming light?
I mean, it's just about jumping in and starting. Like it really is. I fully understand it's scary, and it's funny because growing up, I've been such a late adopter of technology, and then here I am like listening to the Google announcements about how they're going to change how to deliver search. Like, who is this person? But anyways, but just jumping in and starting, because it's like anything. You got to take the first step to be able to take the second step. Like you just have to go for it. Like you said, it can be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like it doesn't. You're better off having done move the needle forward to some degree, even if it's just like this much. Like just doing that, and if you're trying to DIY it, understanding the benefit, like why you're doing certain things, understanding the why behind it. And I guess like you were saying, I like explaining the why, and most of the clients want to know the why. Like, it's like a toddler. Why? Like what? Why do we want to do this? Because then, and for me, and I've noticed that this has been a common thread with the people I've spoken to as well, is understanding the why we do it helps solidify doing the action. Like it's important to take these extra. You're posting a blog, for example. Right. You don't just post a blog. You're making sure you've got an optimized title. You've got your meta description in there. You've got all of these things. Your image is optimized, and you've formatted it for readability. Like there's a few things like that. Like you have to understand why you're doing that.
Well, yeah, I think if you're going to spend time doing anything, you want to double down and make sure you're doing it efficiently. Otherwise, there's not much point in doing it, right? Yeah. Well, this has been super helpful and insightful. If you have any questions at all, like I said, we'll leave links to follow Marika below. You can send her a message, or you can start following her content and get more information from her. Definitely download the checklist. Marika, thank you so much for being here. It's been so amazing to watch your journey, and now to see you sitting here educating people on SEO and website is so funny to me, but in the best way possible. And we'll have to have you on again for another couple of conversations about various things, including the importance of building an email list. So I look forward to that. But for now, thank you so much.
Thank you.